Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. How is everybody doing? As we have a show every Monday night and Wednesday night at 5 o'clock on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. And I'm so glad to be here as we've got such a great show for you. On the show today, I'm going to recap the NBA draft. And I'm also going to give you the latest update on the World Cup and where the scenarios are now. Also going to talk a little bit about Kyle Pitts and his extension. Is this a good move for the Atlanta Falcons? And I'll talk all the local stuff to the Chattahoochee Valley as we got a lot of sporting events going on. Had a busy day today. Just got done with the play date down at Chaco and Calvary. And then we had Turner County taking on Shaw. And before that, we had the 7-on-7 tournament at Smith Station, and Smith Station actually won, beating Lochapoka. And then before that, I was on Sports Vision's morning show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, and it was a very busy day today. And the day is not done. I knew that I had to get a show in, and so I definitely said, hey, let's get a show in because I've committed to doing this show 2 days a week. I used to have this 5 days a week. I'm committed to doing this show 2 days a week, Monday nights and Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock. You can also catch a replay of the show. I'm found on Apple and Spotify. So let's go ahead without any further delay. Let's get right into the show. Hey, World Cup is going on. We did have a match that just ended. Congratulations to Switzerland for winning Group B. They defeated Canada 2-1. This was a game where Switzerland ended up scoring 2 goals. They had a goal by Johan Manzabimi, and then David Promise ended up scoring a goal in the 76th minute. Canada still is going to advance out of the group. I really look at the scenarios because right now Bosnia is leading Qatar. So now we have a situation where it could be goal differential because Canada actually has a tie with Bosnia. So we're looking at Bosnia. Canada's got a +5, so that win over Qatar 6-0 really helped Canada's position for getting second place out of the group. Switzerland ends up winning the group of 7 points. Canada's got 4 points. If Bosnia is able to beat Qatar, they actually have to beat them 9-0 to get second place. But with all that being said, I think that anybody in the World Cup that gets at least 3 or 4 points is going to be able to get out of the group because remember, the top 8 teams are going to advance out of the group into the round of 32 that are third place teams. So here's what we got so far because we do have some soccer matches later tonight. Group A will be finishing their play. South Africa taking on South Korea and Czechia taking on Mexico. Right now in Group A, we've got Mexico that's advancing out of the group, and Korea is in second place with 3 points. You got Czechia and South Africa both with 1 point. And we already seen Group B. Group C, it's going on. Actually, it's going to be going on in the next hour. Brazil taking on Scotland. I think both teams advance out of the group. Scotland actually got a win over Haiti. I still like Scotland's chances, even if they lose to Brazil, to advance out of the group. And then Morocco is taking on Haiti in Atlanta. So, they're calling it Atlanta Stadium. Those matches are going on tonight. Tomorrow, we've got a busy schedule in the World Cup in group play. This is the third and last match in group play before we get to the round of 32. The United States is taking on Turkey tomorrow night, 10 o'clock at Los Angeles Stadium. The United States men's national team is already advanced out of the group, but they want to have a good showing against Turkey. And there's a chance that Christian Pulisic might play. Don't know how much minutes he has. He's ready to go. But is that the smart move to play him or keep him reserved and have fresh legs for the round of 32. And there's questions about several players that are on yellow cards. I highly doubt that Tyler Adams is going to play. But I think that you're going to see some players like Gio Reyna and Ricardo Pepi get some play. Flo Balogun, is he going to play? I'm not sure, but I would actually let Matt Freese play. He has not had a whole lot of save opportunities. You want to have a goalie just ready for that round of 32, or do you rest him? I mean, that's a good question. But tomorrow we've got Curacao. They're taking on Ivory Coast. That's going to be at 4. And at the same time as that's going on, we got Ecuador taking on Germany. That's going to be at 4. At 7, we got Japan and Sweden. And then we got Tanzania and the Netherlands at 10 o'clock. We got Paraguay and Australia. The winner of this match will get second place in the group. And if you look at the goal differential, Australia has a goal differential of 2. So if they tie, they will get second place. And Paraguay might be able to get out of the group. I think 3 or 4 points will get you out of the group. And going into Saturday, another busy schedule. They cram all these matches because they want to have 2 matches going on at the same time. We got Croatia and Ghana. Ghana had a very impressive 0-0 tie with England. Harry Kane had a chance to put England on top, and he could not get it done. But Panama taking on England, Croatia taking on Ghana, Colombia taking on Portugal. Hey, Cristiano Ronaldo is back. He scored 2 goals the other day against Uzbekistan. Speaking of Uzbekistan, taking on Congo, 7:30. That's the final match in group play in Atlanta. And I was looking at ticket prices. That was actually an affordable ticket if you want to go catch the World Cup. We got some nightcap games on Saturday. Algeria taking on Austria. And then Jordan taking on Argentina, which Lionel Messi scored all the goals so far for Argentina. Sunday begins group play. We know that Canada is going to be in the round of 32. They are going to be taking on the second place team out of Group A, which I think is going to be Korea. It could be either Czechia or South Africa, but we'll see. I think they're going to play Korea in that round of 32. Monday, we've got 3 round of 32 matches. Germany is going to be playing a third place team. And then Mexico's playing in the round of 32 on Tuesday, June the 30th. And then the United States is playing in the round of 32 on July the 1st. Switzerland, they advance. They win the group. They're playing in the round of 32 on Thursday. Argentina, they're going to be playing a round of 32 match against the second place team in Group H. So that is more likely going to be Uruguay. Could be Cabo Verde. Could be Spain. Can you imagine Spain and Argentina in the round of 32? That would be absolutely crazy. But hey, anything can happen. I think the round of 32 just allows the World Cup to continue to expand and last longer, and people can get their soccer fever on and continue to watch soccer matches. The United States going to be in action on July the 1st. More than likely, I think they'll play Bosnia, but who knows who they're going to end up facing. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk NBA draft, because with the first overall pick, the Washington Wizards ended up selecting AJ Dybala from BYU. He is a power forward that likes to score. He can also defend, and he can also rebound. And with them reeing up Trae Young, and they also have young players like Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr. I don't know the health of Anthony Davis. If he's back, this Washington Wizards team will have some good pieces. I don't necessarily think they're a playoff team yet. But then the Utah Jazz, Darren Peterson, who is a point guard out of Kansas that has probably the most potential. He thought he was going to go number 1. The Utah Jazz get him. I don't think the Utah Jazz were necessarily tanking. They do have a superstar in Lauri Markkanen, but they have some pretty good pieces, including Ace Bailey. I mean, they've had several, including Colin Sexton. They've had some pieces, but I think that Darren Peterson is going to do well there. Cam Boozer going to the Memphis Grizzlies, and Memphis is in complete rebuild mode. Losing Desmond Bain and losing Jared Jackson, they and Steven Adams. I remember a couple of years ago, Memphis was not only a playoff contender but could possibly get to the finals. And Cam Boozer gives them stability. He is a good player. A lot of experts in the NBA compare Cam Boozer to his dad, which is a pretty good comparison because his dad was an all-star. But I think that Cam Boozer is going to be a solid starter for Memphis. The Chicago Bulls get Caleb Wilson, a talented freshman from North Carolina that's got a lot of upside. And the last time the Chicago Bulls drafted a player from North Carolina, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go there. I'll have to look at the history books on that one. But I do believe that was Michael Jordan. I don't know. Keaton Wagner going to the Clippers. Man, the Pacers got to be kicking themselves. This was supposed to be our pick. What is going on in the world? Mikael Brown going to the Brooklyn Nets, which the Nets have been abysmal, but they did get Julius Randle as Nick Claxton going to the T-Wolves. So, hey, Julius Randle is a member of the Brooklyn Nets. And then Darius Acuff, talented point guard from the University of Arkansas, going to the Sacramento Kings, which works out for the Kings because, they had De'Aaron Fox. I think that Doug Christie's going to be a lame duck coach, and the health of Domantas Sabonis. They still have, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. What are they going to do with these pieces? Keegan Murray, he's a pretty good piece. But they get a pretty good point guard. And then finally the Hawks get probably their starting point guard, Kingston Flemings, who's going to be probably the point guard that's going to facilitate to the likes of Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now they got a true point guard that they can spread the ball around, and Dyson Daniels can maybe play the 2, play the 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker could play the 2 or the 3. You don't have to have a point guard. You don't have to have a player playing out of position and playing point guard. I think the Hawks are going to have some pretty good pieces. They're not done yet. We were talking to Steve Holman, who's the play-by-play announcer for the Atlanta Hawks on the Sports Visions Morning Show this morning. And, he can't really talk NBA free agency, but he likes the picks that the Hawks had, including getting Zuby Ejiofor from St. John's with the 23rd overall pick. Morez Johnson Jr. from Michigan goes to the Dallas Mavericks. Braden Burris, the guard for the Arizona Wildcats, goes to Milwaukee. Milwaukee ended up having multiple picks because of the Giannis trade, which I will get into in just a minute. Yaxel Lindersborg, the forward from Michigan, who's a much older player, but, stayed on that Michigan team. NIL money. I mean, you got the champions from Michigan, and they lost their coach. This is the reason why Dusty May is now a coach of the Dallas Mavericks, because he lost all his top players in the lottery. Morez Johnson Jr., Yaxel Lindenberg, and Ade Mara, who ended up going to the OKC Thunder at number 12. Nate Ament to the Miami Heat from the University of Tennessee, which was traded to Milwaukee. So I'm glad I saw that there. I knew the Miami Heat were not going to get up any first-round picks, especially with the trade to Giannis. Giannis going to the Miami Heat, which makes the Miami Heat championship contenders. Haynes Steinbach from the University of Washington going to the Charlotte Hornets, and then Dalen Swain, a guard from the University of Texas, going to the Chicago Bulls. Hey, later tonight we have round 2. There is a local guy to Columbus that could possibly go in the second round. The guard, Jalen Sellers from Providence, who played at Spencer. He graduated in 2021. And I know I called a lot of basketball on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I know that I didn't get a chance to call his games because I wasn't calling any games in 2021, but it's always nice to see the local talent in Columbus make it into the NBA. So good luck to Jalen Sellers tonight, as he is projected to go into the second round. Do you like how the second round is on television the following day? I mean, I'm really a firm believer in just getting it over with. The first and second round just needs to be the one day, but they want to spread this out. It's It's a TV product. You want to spread this out. So we got round 2 that is starting later tonight. The Knicks are on the clock. Yeah, the world champs have the first pick of the second round. That was actually a trade with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Thunder ended up getting the Wizards pick. So that is pretty interesting. Hey, why don't we take a break? When we come back, I'm going to talk a little NFL offseason. We've got OTAs, we got mini camp, we got training camp coming up. You don't want to go anywhere. It's a Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Back after this. And welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. It's Wednesday night. I said I was going to do this show every Monday and Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, and that is exactly what I am doing. It's a great day to be alive if you are a sports fan. And if you are a Falcons fan, you got to be excited that they decided to re-up Kyle Pitts. Look, he was not going to be that expensive. Kyle Pitts is a good possession tight end. He may not have all the blocking skills. That's why you have Charlie Werner. He's your blocking tight end. Look, the Falcons had to re-sign him because if he goes anywhere else, he's going to end up being an all-pro like with the Kansas City Chiefs or the San Francisco 49ers. He's in the prime of his career. He's only 25 years old, the number 4 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, who made a Pro Bowl. And then last year, he showed signs that he could be a franchise tight end as he had an incredible season. He almost had 1,000 yards receiving, and he had more touchdowns than he ever had in his Falcons career. The upside was great. He had the most receptions in his Falcons career with 88, and Kyle Pitts was second-team All-Pro. I think that this was a smart move for the Atlanta Falcons to ink up Kyle Pitts and get him for a 3-year deal. I'm looking at the salary to see exactly what it was for. $54 million, 3-year deal, and that's going to keep him in Atlanta until 2028. They read up Drake London. Now who's next on the table? Bijan Robinson. Need to lock up your offensive weapons while they're in their prime, and that goes to show that the Atlanta Falcons are committed to getting their key players signed. Now it's got to result on play on the field because I'm sick and tired of the Atlanta Falcons blowing leads, turning the ball over in the red zone, and throwing interceptions, but luckily Kirk Cousins is not here anymore. The Falcons, I can't tell you how many times the Atlanta Falcons gave away games. They have so much talent, and that defense is going to get better. James Pierce is coming back. Jalen Walker is going to have a huge breakout season. I know they lost Caden Ellis. You still have Jesse Bates. You still have A.J. Terrell, and now you drafted A.J. Terrell's brother. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Jeff Ulbrich is back as the defensive coordinator, and I'm excited to see what Kevin Stefanski can do in year 1 for the Atlanta Falcons. So a good move. Not a whole lot of NFL offseason moves that's going on. You know, franchise tag moves. That stuff happened definitely in March, and then we had the NFL draft, and now we have this is just a time where you get ready for OTAs. And I tell you what, like when you look at some of the top teams, you talk about the Atlanta Falcons competing in the NFC South. Well, guess what? The Saints are better now. You have the Panthers who won the division last year. They're better. I'm not too sure about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think losing Mike Evans was a big loss. However, Emeka Ibuka, yet another Ohio State wide receiver who's a big-time receiver, is now going to be the number one. So you got Emeka Ibuka. I think that the Buccaneers will be fine. I do want to take a look at that NFL schedule because it is crazy to see how many games that we have internationally. It's absolutely unbelievable. By the way, the Brandon Ayuk watch, he is wanting to sign with the Washington Commanders. He's already following them, saying, "Go Commanders." So I know the Commanders will probably get it done. Team him up with his old teammate in San Francisco, Deebo Samuel. Let's go. Hey, week one in the NFL. We've got Wednesday night, Patriots Seahawks rematch of the Super Bowl. I cannot wait till football season. The Hall of Fame game, Panthers and Cardinals, August the 6th in Canton. It will be here before you know it. It's about 6 weeks away. But that week one on September the 9th on a Wednesday night. And then on Thursday night in Australia, 49ers Rams. What can I say about this game? I am pumped. I'm excited. All right. Let's talk Atlanta Falcons as they are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers week one. And the Steelers, I can't believe they got lines in these games. Steelers are favored by 3. What in the world? All right. Hey, let's switch gears. We go from Atlanta Falcons and NFL offseason to the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are going to be taking on the San Diego Padres later tonight, an 8:40 start. That's actually not a bad start. I thought it was going to be a 10 o'clock start. They're trying to avoid the sweep. Martin Perez is on the mound. He's got a 6-3 record with a 2.78 earned run average, and he's taking on JP Sears. And then the Atlanta Braves will go up to San Francisco to take on the Giants for a 3-game series before they're back home against the St. Louis Cardinals at Truist Park. Hey, the Cleanstones are taking on the Rocket City Trash Pandas for a 6-game series. They dropped their first game last night, and they'll be taking on the Rocket City Trash Pandas later today. We got the Columbus Lions in action. They are going to be taking on the Mississippi Wolfpack at 7 o'clock at the Columbus Civic Center in the first round of the AAL playoffs. So much stuff going on. Columbus United's actually got a week off this week. They'll actually take it on Birmingham Legion FC2 next week. We've got the Isaiah Crowell football camp that's happening on Saturday. You know, we've got the Adult Basketball League, the Night Ballers. That's going to be this Friday. It's so busy, and we're just continuing to grind and put out content on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And, you know, that's why I love doing this podcast and doing Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions. And this is what the grind's all about. It is just busy time, even though it's the summer months, but it's still busy. College football is just around the corner. We got SEC Media Days coming up next month. So let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's talk College World Series. Congratulations to Oklahoma. They did it. They keep the streak alive. They beat North Carolina 13-2. They have given the SEC 7 straight SEC titles. The last team to win the College World Series that was not a member of the SEC was Oregon State in 2018. You had Vanderbilt win it in 2019. They didn't have a College World Series in 2020. And I'm trying to rattle off like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Tennessee, LSU twice, now Oklahoma. And they had an incredible run. They were on the brink of elimination. They were trailing 8-2 to Georgia Tech in the Atlanta Regional. And not only did they beat Georgia Tech, they win the regional. They beat Kansas in the Super Regional in 2 games. And then they beat Alabama, which was a top-ranked team. They beat Georgia twice. They beat North Carolina, who was ranked number 5. So that was just an incredible run for the Oklahoma Sooners, who win their 3rd College World Series championship. And it is their first since 1994. Yeah, can you believe that? 1994. And I remember who they were playing. They were playing Georgia Tech. Hey, I do want to talk about the District 8 tournament here in Columbus. We have Little League. And Little League is I don't know if you know, it's a pretty big deal. You know, a team from Northern just so happened to win the Little League World Series back in 2006. I knew about that before I even lived in Columbus. And so I knew that it was a pretty big deal. But we got the we have the District 8 tournament going on at Pioneer. And I just want to give you an update because right now, American is in it, and they beat Northern. Wow, last night, American beat Northern. Harris County ended up beating Peach. And then later today, I believe 7:45 in Pioneer Little League, we got Northern and Harris County in the elimination bracket. Let me see when the championship is because that's the double elimination bracket. We've got, the championship is going to be Friday at 6 o'clock. And they will determine who will win District 8 to represent District 8 in the Georgia tournament, which will take place in July. I have witnessed Northern Harris County not only win the state, but have a good showing in the Southeast Regional and Warner Robins. And there were several times that they were 2 wins away from the Little League World Series, just couldn't figure out Florida or Tennessee. Nolensville from Tennessee, Lake City from Florida. It's just they've always been powerhouses that represent the Southeast Regional, and they end up going to Williamsport. But we are rooting for all the teams in the District 8 tournament. I think that's a pretty cool tournament, and it's going on right now at Pioneer Little League. Hey, why don't we take a break? When we come back, I'm teasing what my movie review is for next week, and going to close out this show. You don't want to go anywhere. It's Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge on a Wednesday night live here on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be right back after this. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Hey, I wanted to make an announcement on here. The next 2 days, I'm actually going out of town. We are running a best of on Sports Visions. You could catch me, Thrip Behringer, and DJ Jones on Sports Visions 92.1 FM in Columbus every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9. However, going out of town, got into the studio earlier today and just pre-recorded those 2 shows. Thursday and Friday, we're just running some of the interviews that we've had over the last couple of weeks. It's been a lot of fun. I've truly been blessed that I've been able to do the Sports Visions Morning Show and doing this podcast, which you can catch on WQVZ every Sunday night. Mission Radio over there in Casita, Alabama. I can't tell you how many times I messed up that on the broadcast when I said live from Casita, Alabama on the broadcast today, and I really meant live from Casita, Georgia, as I was calling basketball games in Summer League down at Chaco with Rip Behringer. But, it happens, especially when you have a million things as a broadcaster, and I'm just producing and putting out content, and I just love doing what I do. But it is time to reveal which movie I'm going to review on Monday's show. Reviewed Facing the Giants last show on Monday. It was my first movie review, so bear with me. But the movie I'm going to review for my sports movie review is Kicking and Screaming. Oh, I'm going to have fun with this one. Look, I love this movie. I don't care what you say. It's a classic starring Will Ferrell. And yes, I will review it on Monday. Before I close out the show, I want to talk about Brendan Sorsby. Look, this is my hot take on Brendan Sorsby. The NFL can do whatever they want. They don't have to have a supplemental draft for him. Buddy, you bet on your team while you were playing. I know you weren't in the game, but you bet on your team while you were playing. You deserve to take a year off of football. You need to get your mind right. You need to get your life together before you could focus on football. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I know that I was listening to Sports Talk Radio early this morning, and there were options like going to an NAIA school. Faulkner University ain't going to take you. Point University, are you kidding me? These schools are not going to take you, dude. What, you going to go to the Arena League? Where are you going to go? You need to take a year off, get your life right, and maybe if you do well at the combine, then you might get drafted in 2027. But Brendan Sorsby, I'm sorry, dude. You did one thing that is forgivable. I do believe in second chances in this society, but you got to face the consequences. You don't need to be playing football for an entire year. That's all I got to say about that. That's my another special Richards rant. I got a lot of specials, like please throw in the towel. I do the meme from Apollo Creed's Trainer. And anytime there's just a bloodbath, I'm talking about a huge blowout, I have a segment on the show called Please Throw in the Towel. So that's a lot of fun. But I had fun. This has been a fun show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, you can like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm also found on Apple and Spotify. And you can also follow me on Instagram, as I do put up some reels from time to time. I also put up some reels on my TikTok page as well. Thank you for tuning in the show, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. You can catch new episodes on Facebook and YouTube every Monday and Wednesday night at 5 p.m. The Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge is a local podcast that covers sports in Columbus, Georgia.